Good morning everyone and welcome back to a brand new video of Fox Flicks on Popcross Studios. Today we are hopping into part 2 of Act 2 of Pantheon Reapers, Gods in the Shroud of Anubis. Let's hop in and see just what's new Egyptian gods were brought back.
Today we have got my second round of taking Egyptian myths, specifically Egyptian gods today, and turning them into undead and villainous variants to be a part of my ongoing fiction series, Mytholethal Pantheon Reapers. If you want to start the series from the beginning, you can check out the playlist linked in the cards and the description. But for a brief recap of where we left off last time, our main family of mythological...
here you go. Last time on Mytholethal Pantheon Reapers. There you go.
Heroes Ordis, Mythal, Nerati, and Sagan have teamed up with my main roster of heroes in Multiverse Tales, the Sharp Gang, to go after the Imperium Pantheon, villainous variants of deities working for the
Imperial Pantheon Mark II
series antagonist Tarsa, trying to take over various universes of the multiverse. We're currently following Ordis Finemo as the team has been split up into 3 different squads, and the squad that he's working with is heading into Cairo in another dimension to track down the villainous variant of Anubis. He has plenty of undead minions working for him, some of which we will see designed today. So let's get into the story and art, shall we? Let's go.
Hit like if you want, subscribe if you feel like it. By the way, enjoy the show. Alright, here we go. Right into it. Who's first?
Through her closed eyelids,
Really? Starting off with Ra, the god of the sun.
Mythal could make out the flickering of different colored lights. Remaining as quiet as she could, she slowly sat up and looked across the bedroom to see Ordis's body lying on the concrete floor with a circuit of hovering various colored orbs floating and darting around him. She knew very well that what he was doing was incredibly dangerous, and a single slip-up could tear his own body apart. She wasn't concerned, as he'd done it many times at this point, but she still knew better than to do anything that could disturb him. Mythal simply watched for a moment, knowing he'd likely planned out this endeavor to be finished by the time she was awakened. Neither she nor Ordis needed to sleep much, thanks to Mythal's God-Queller physiology and Ordis's Overseer abilities, but they'd both taken to rest the night before to ensure they were fully energized for the day's mission.
You may not need to sleep, but that doesn't mean you won't sleep for fun, enjoyment.
Which, very well,
literally to relax.
Could last much longer than a single day. The orbs stopped zipping around and locked into place, then faded from view. Ordis's eyes opened and he sprang up from the floor. "Oh, sorry, Mythal, I planned to be done before you woke up." "You may as well have, I just rose this second, really." She sprang out of bed, walked over, grabbed his chin, and leaned down to kiss him. Then, she said, "Was it an effective, energetic self-surgery session?"
I do still have to say, they are a perfect couple. They just... all the love they feel for each other and their family, it's just... good shit.
In response, he tapped and spun a glowing blue ring on his arm. A round, semi-translucent shield the size of his body appeared before him, along with 2 others around half the size on either side of it. The largest shield swooped down to Ordis's feet and he leapt onto it, letting it raise him into the air. With some of Anubis's forces being so unpredictable, I figured I could use a method of transportation that could help me and others get out of a tough spot quickly, other than just teleporting us out of the dimension. With Grex, Astra, that mech-maker fellow Benny, we've got some pretty heavy firepower on Squad 3, so I figured I'd better lean farther into defense and assisting maneuverability. I was essentially just tweaking my already active shield ability, nothing too complicated. Mythal smiled. "And how are you feeling about your team? You think the hints of bitterness we caught towards us from that Dresden fellow will be a problem?" Ordis darted around the room on his shield, testing it out as he said, "I don't think so. If I had to guess, I'd say part of him resents us for not killing Tarsa when we had the chance all those centuries back. I haven't gotten the full story, but it sounds like he had an unfortunate run-in with her before joining up with this team. But,
well, yeah, no, we kind of know about that.
If that is the case, given his tone in my last conversation with him, I'd also assume he's conflicted about feeling that way, and thinks it's not fair of himself to feel that way. That's just a guess, but it should be easy enough for me to learn more soon. Really, I'm more interested in Kaija, Grex, and Astra at the moment. From his very shaky aura, I think Grex's view of his own role in life is crumbling, meaning he'll be a bit more unpredictable, but also may already be reconsidering his allegiance to the other Archons.
Yeah,
honestly, there may be more genuine good in him than I expected. I might need to shift my tactics and reconsider what could really come of him. As for Astra, she took surprisingly quickly to my advice on how to control Tarsa's minions back in A141.
Obviously, it was still a highly skeptical about it, but you were pretty much able to do what any dad would be able to do and get her to trust you. Like that.
Tarsa was able to shake Astra's confidence soon after. I think she's close to a point of being able to fully individuate and become both much happier and a huge asset to her team, which she clearly hasn't always been from stories I've heard.
Yeah.
Not to mention, there may be some interesting tension between Astra and Kaiji Grex, given Astra is apparently dating Grex's...
Wait.
What's that look for? Ortis chuckled, seeing a proud smile on Mythal's face as she leaned up against the wall watching him. I'm simply very pleased to see how invested you are in this whole endeavor. You may have more enthusiasm now than when the first grandchildren were born. Ortis stepped off his shield and it vanished. That's fair. I didn't expect to get this invested myself, but it's more exciting than I expected being part of a team that we didn't see grow up. With our family, I saw in real time most of their quirks, insecurities, and nuanced ways of perceiving reality develop. There's a layer of mystery.
Yeah, I mean, you were there from the beginning. In this case, you are literally just spawning in, like, near the end game.
Mystery to this group and these people that I'm enjoying uncovering. I'm finding many of them to be deeply fascinating. Well, that is delightful to hear, because I know I'm certainly very interested to see how Alexis progresses from here. As much as I'd liked the idea of handling Tarsa myself when we inevitably go up against her again, now I think I may be more excited to see Alexis finish her off. Though, since you mentioned that Benny fellow, have you by chance taken a look at his aura?
What about
Ortis
him?
thought for a moment. Huh, I'm not sure I have, at least not an in-depth look. Why? I could be wrong, but I think he gets it. Ortis's eyebrows raised.
Sorry?
Gets it like he gets it? She nodded. I could be wrong, but he certainly has that sort of demeanor about him. Ortis's eyes darted back and forth.
And now I'm confused. I'm gonna need an explanation, please.
As his mouth opened into a wide smile. Fascinating. Well, now I'm even more excited to spend time with my squad. Try not to take down Anubis' generals too quickly with Squad 2, would you? I want to make sure I get at least a bit of time with Squad 3. Mythal chuckled. You know I'll be happy to have a long fight if they can provide some challenge, though with how much Alexis has progressed, she may make quick work of the generals herself. Hopefully Anubis will have some extra might up his sleeve that will surprise me. Mythal and Ortis spent a bit more alone time together before getting some food. Dr. Champagne had prepared banana pancakes with blueberry compote for whoever wanted them.
Oh, so yes, I did see that comment before about how in the last video I had said and something about a panini maker, and someone said, and well, Champagne does have a panini maker in his arm, thanks to Benny.
And as usual, it was profoundly delicious. Both Ortis and Mythal made sure to tell him as much. Ortis then spent 15 minutes going through some last-minute notes on some of the superhero teams from Dimension A134 who had disappeared in Cairo while trying to take down Anubis' forces. There was a team that resembled Celtic myths, and another full of clear variants of Hindu deities. Some of them had rather impressive abilities and could certainly pose a problem if they'd been converted to Anubis' side. When Ortis was done, he and Mythal strapped on their newly acquired Mujwawuts, or multiverse-jumping wristwatch thingies, as Benny had named them. Ortis...
Look, at this point, just call them hoppers. It's going to be a lot simpler than going Mujwawut every damn time. It's like, everyone, get on your hoppers! Click!
Mythal didn't need these to jump between dimensions, but they were a means of communication with other members of their squads. Ortis and Mythal headed outside the main building doors to see the three squads were all grouped together. Ortis gave Mythal a good luck kiss, then walked over to his group. Astra, Benny, Dresden, Basilia, Ares, Sagan, Nerati, and Kaijagrex were all there, along with Dr. Champagne, who wasn't coming on the mission. His one mechanical arm, made for him by his partner Benny, provided him some combat capabilities, but he wasn't big on fighting. He was clearly just leaving, and Benny gave him a goodbye kiss. It was visibly evident that the Doctor was not a fan of public displays of affection, which Benny clearly enjoyed, as he tried to go in for a second, more exaggerated kiss, as Champagne rolled his eyes, chuckling and pushing Benny's face away from him, as he
Stop that.
walked off back into the building. They were a bizarre pairing, but a cute couple. Kaijagrex was surprisingly not bickering with Nerati for once, though Nerati was leering angrily at him as he bumped up against Vasilia Kuznet.
Not only are you pronouncing it wrong, but you're pronouncing it the dumbest way you could. Jaguar? Seriously?
The woman in elegant blue and gold armor with a
even
red
struggle with
braid
it.
as long as her own body rolled her eyes, and in a thick Russian accent said, "Seeing as how I am Ver Jaguar and you are not, I believe I have full right to pronounce it however I wish. I do not tell you how to pronounce big dumb oaf, given that is what you are."
Okay, before we get into that fight, first of all, if you know exactly what you're talking about, and even if you're saying it differently, it doesn't matter, because you know what you're talking about. It's like lever and level. It's the same damn thing.
Chimed in saying, "Yeah, and you're one to talk, beefball. What did you say that big bony demon general of Eldrorox was? What kind of monster was it again?" Grex growled.
That's how you say it. Gashtok is a giant skeleton.
Vasilia
Skellington? He says Skellington? I mean, nothing wrong with that. I'm just not expecting someone like Kytrex to say Skellington.
burst out laughing, but then Benny cut in. "I'm personally gonna have to agree with Mustard Mouth Godzilla here. I mean, not that he's saying it the right way, he obviously ain't, but Skellington is the fun way to say it."
He's got a
Ortis
point.
chuckled, taking a moment to admire Sagan's unusual outfit. On his legs, he had mechanical armor constructed by Benny, which would allow him to fly, while his chest and arms were clad in more medieval-looking attire, with retractable blades on each forearm, crafted by Vasilia. The bickering
Nice.
went on as Ortis took a beat to switch his vision to look at Benny's aura more closely. When he did, he had to force his jaw to not drop open. He thought to himself, "I think
Okay.
Mithel's right. I think he gets it." Fascinating.
I need to know what you're seeing, and I need to know what gets it is. Please, go into more detail. By the way, I love how this Raw, instead of having like a golden yellow flame or even something red to signify the sun, it's got blue signifying death, decay, the end.
Alexis suddenly called over the three squads.
Next up is... Oh, it's Batst.
Alright everyone, you all know your missions. Only get in contact with other squads if completely urgent and necessary. And good luck. Once we take down 2 more of Tarsa's Pantheon, it'll be hard for her to not crawl out of whatever hole she's hiding in for another fight.
And hopefully it's
And
a
this
deep
time
hole.
I'll be ready to do what needs to be done. Squads 1 and 2 both transported off to the respective realms of their missions.
To kind of help some of y'all understand who this is this is pretty much the deity in charge of defense. You know, the bat statues from Terraria, they give you the +5.
And,
you just nail
as
them.
planned, Ortis and Squad 3 waited 5 minutes for Mythil and Squad 2 to launch their attack outside Cairo in Dimension A134. That was intended to draw
time.
Anubis' generals and undead warriors out of the city. Once 5 minutes had passed, Astra opened a portal into Cairo, and the second she did, black smoke and dark orange sand billowed through onto the grass around them. Ortis would have been happy to step through first, but knew Dresden was intended to be the leader of this group. He let
Go
the
on,
professor
Dresden.
take the first step, and everyone else followed quickly after. They all remained quiet as they stepped onto the eerie, shrouded street. The buildings were hard to make out, but seemed to be constructed of white limestone with gold accents, though everything had a bit of an orange hue.
Weirdly enough, that's actually what the pyramids originally were. White limestone with golden accents. But, you know, over time and thieves, a lot of that was taken, leading to the pyramid's current looks.
Through the swirling sand and smoke. Astra closed the portal, and it sunk in more deeply how unsettlingly quiet it was. The whole group seemed nervous to speak. Ortis instinctively wanted to start leading the group forward, but didn't want to step on Dresden's toes.
Yeah, good thinking.
Finally, Astra said, "Well, we're not going to find anything just standing around." She marched on into the Shroud. Astra had transported them near the city center of Cairo, overriding the default way to transport into a new universe, which was to arrive at that dimension's nexus point.
Right.
They weren't certain where Anubis was holed up in the city, but their best guess was Duat Tower, where this dimension's resident Anubis had resided before Tarsa's Anubis invaded.
I would have gone with the top of that pyramid, but that's just me.
While it was difficult to see much farther than a dozen feet in front of them, they knew they were close. They came up to a set of stone stairs that led up to a silhouette of a skyscraper. A quiet, dull pulse started emanating near Ortis, and he turned to see Benny, in the new black and silver mech armor he was wearing for this mission, flying up
nice.
along the face of the building. Astra spread a pair of mechanically augmented wings and flew up after him, sending a gust of sand and shroud billowing out around her. Ortis watched the cloud swell and merge in with the rest of the dark mist, but as his eyes followed it, he saw something odd. On a stone
What is
railing
it?
near him was a strangely placed cat sculpture, or what at first seemed to be a sculpture.
Oh.
Ortis tapped his mudjewut, then immediately moved his hand onto his overseer runes. Quietly, he said, "Be ready, everyone. Someone knows we're here." Ortis felt the air shift across the
Here we
back of his
go.
neck, and he instinctively thrust his hand up, making his blue shield appear above him. The second it formed, a snarling black lioness, partially covered in bandages, with rotting flesh smashed on top of it. Ortis turned his shield and thrust it to the side, dropping his assailant and blocking the next, as the sculpture revealed itself to be another beast like the one he'd just protected himself from.
Behold!
He turned quickly towards Narati and Sagan. Another undead cat beast was lunging towards them, but Grex quickly moved into its path, caught it, and ripped it in half, throwing both chunks at two more shadows looming in the shroud.
Good boy, Grex.
Friends of yours, Jaguguar lady.
Grex chuckled at Vasilia as she was mid-transformation into her own cat-like form. "Certainly not, but I will happily show them who the apex feline is in this match." She sprang off the ground and tackled
Kick
another
some
cat out
ass.
of the air as it was headed for Ares, who had two more of the fiends on him, but held off both by their necks with his burly hands. He slammed their heads together, then tossed them both into the air above him. He grabbed his axe off his back and hurled it up towards them, clearly intending to slice them both in half in one go. Instead, the two cats kicked off each other, pushing away and disappearing into the shroud.
Huh, clever kitties. But if this world's Bastet is behind this, she better come out and have a go at us herself, because
Bastet. So that's how you say the actual name. Okay.
I'm betting I'll still get bored pretty quick handling her pets.
If you insist.
Oh, there
A
she is.
12-foot tall, snarling, skull-headed cat goddess burst through the shroud and tackled Ares to the ground, instantly chomping her teeth into his armor, though not managing to pierce through.
Never underestimate the fortitude of a Kuznet-forged armor, kitty cat.
Nice.
Well said, Ares, Vasilia asserted as she sprang onto Bastet's neck and chomped into it.
Almost so good, even gods love it.
The undead cat goddess reacted with little more than a sneer before swiping her own claw back at Vasilia. Thankfully, Ortis hurled his shield into the swipe's path, protecting Vasilia and giving her a moment to dismount and go for the goddess's leg. Ortis called back his shield and used it to raise himself slightly into the air. It was hard to tell how many foes there actually were through the shroud, and none of Bastet's minions had auras, so shifting his vision didn't help Ortis see them. The squad
that's
all
trouble.
seemed to be faring fine on the ground, but before Ortis could get sight on each member, Benny crashed down from the sky, slamming into the stone stairs
Whoa.
with blue flames billowing off his armor. He quickly raised his head and
Raw.
activated the suit function that spat white mist out of the armor's creases, dousing the flames. He looked around. Alright, so we got cats on the ground and spooky pigeon men in the sky. That ain't too bad.
Technically a falcon, I believe, but okay.
Is it raw? Ortis asked, seeing some approaching flames through the shroud above. Then he replied, "Nah, I'd say he's overcooked, if anything, on account of the fire." The dark shroud swirled
funny,
around another
funny.
skull-headed god with flaming skeletal wings. He was headed towards Benny when Astra fired down into the god's back, slamming him into the ground. She grew a partially mechanical tail, wrapped it around his neck, then drove his beak into the floor. Ares
There
turned
you
from
go.
Bastet, having reacquired his axe, and swung it down at Raw's wing, only for the blade to bounce off.
Uh-huh.
Then he saw that as he was picking himself
Damn.
up. "I thought pigeons had hollow bones or something so they wasn't too heavy to fly.
All birds have hollow bones.
If you ain't got that, then really, by all known laws of aviation..." Before he could finish, a cat beast lunged onto Benny's back
Oh,
and
jokes,
tried
Benny.
dragging him to the ground. Instead, he
Not hating jokes, just saying not the time for them.
just flew up and started whipping his body around in a circle until the beast couldn't hold on and soared off him, slamming into a wall. Ortis was impressed with how everyone was faring. He also knew if there were two gods here defending Duat Tower, there was a good chance Anubis was here. But that also meant
Would
there
seem
may
like
be
it.
even more gods present. Ortis quickly
Oh,
realized
wait,
he hadn't
crap.
seen Dresden in the battle. He looked around but couldn't spot him. He switched his vision and faintly saw Dresden's aura just inside the building. Ortis flew himself on his
How'd he
shield
get
right for the
inside?
doors, while asking through his watch, "Dresden, are there enemies on you?" He got no reply. Ortis soared through the doors into the large lobby of the building to see Dresden encircled in spinning clouds. The ground beneath him was quaking and crumbling apart, as
What
Dresden's
the-
own stony flesh was breaking off him and getting pulled into the swirling vortex. His eyes were glazed over black and his mouth hung open. Despite being upright, he barely seemed conscious.
the
Instinctively,
hell?
Ortis wanted to fly into the swell and grab Dresden. but he thought better of it. The rapidly swirling winds made it even harder to see through the shroud, but Ortis used his aura vision to look around and quickly spotted the chaotic aura of a looming presence nearby.
Uh-oh. Is it Anubis himself? Or is it someone else? Great pose, I have to say.
Ortis leapt off his largest shield
Oh,
and
okay, that is Set. Ah.
held it and two smaller ones before him. You must be this world's Set, correct?
Yeah, from what I remember correctly, I believe, this is actually the god of death. Not Anubis, who is the god of the dead, I believe, but I may have that completely wrong, because I do not know a whole lot about Egyptian mythology.
Often easy for me to recognize a god of chaos and disorder.
Never mind, chaos and disorder.
The god slowly stepped closer, revealing his form of a roughly 10-foot-tall humanoid with a curved, semi-canine-like snout and squared-off ears. His head wasn't a skull like Ra or Bastet. In fact, he didn't appear to be an undead minion at all, though he certainly wasn't coming across as friendly.
Alive?
The god said nothing, simply staring at Ortis. Squad, Dresden's in trouble inside the ground floor of the tower. There's another god here, and I could use help from a heavy hitter. Before he even finished the sentence, both Grex and Astra came crashing through the doors. Yellow light built up in Grex's mouth.
We're done being subtle, right? Because I'm ready to belch a hole through someone.
Astra smacked her tail
Okay,
against
I
Grex's
guess.
head. No, meathead,
Oh,
we
wait.
still don't want Anubis' generals coming after us if we can help it. No big explosions.
Right,
Well, big
okay.
is relative. This'll be small compared to a planet.
He growled, about to fire off a massive blast. Astra smacked her tail under his jaw to clamp it shut. I said no! Don't make me tell your sister you're being a bad little doggy.
Oh!
Ortis's lips pursed together as he thought, that might have been a bit too far, Astra.
Yeah.
The battle-excited expression on Grex's face turned to fury.
Astra, I'm sorry, but no, you did... No.
What did you say to me, Tarsa's little brat?
There it
It
is.
genuinely looked like
God.
Grex was about to fire at Astra instead, but before anyone else could act, Set slammed the scepter he held onto the ground, and the entire floor exploded in a shockwave around him. As it rocked the room, sand and clouds and wind whipped around them all, sending Ortis spinning and instinctively clamping his eyes shut. He called his shields around him to protect himself and to try and stop his spin. When he finally opened his eyes, he was on his biggest shield, floating just above churning rocks and dirt, which
Whoa.
seemed to be going on for miles. The faintly visible walls of
Okay,
the tower
damn.
were gone. It was like he was somewhere new entirely. He looked around and spotted something in the air a short ways away. He assumed it was an enemy, but shifting to his aura sight, he recognized who it was. Kaiju Grex, this way!
Oh, it's
Grex
Grex.
had sprouted wings to stay above the shifting, shaking ground, and used them to fly over to Ortis. Grex still had a scowl on his face and fumes spilling from his mouth. Ortis tapped his watch. Squad 3, testing communication. There was no answer. Set probably pulled us into his own domain. Storms,
Of course he
earthquakes,
did.
and chaos are all things variants of him are commonly a god of. As Ortis spoke, he tried spinning his Overseer runes to open a portal. A purple ring of light appeared, but there was no location on the other side of it.
Damn it.
I can't get us
Of
out.
course.
Your Archon abilities are probably able to override whatever's blocking me in here, but we have to find Dresden and Astra first. Hopefully the rest of the team didn't get sucked into this as well and is
Yeah, that'd be
faring
bad.
all right. Grex sucked in air through his teeth angrily, then forced a smile.
Sure. I'll go look for Stonehead. You find Tarsa's pitiful crotch fruit, then I'll get us out of here.
Okay, I get
We
it. You're
shouldn't
pissed,
split
but
up.
dude,
Set's domain
please.
is likely one of chaos. It could be very hard to find each other again, Ortis asserted. Grex rolled his eyes.
Fine. Just keep up then.
Grex flapped his wings and shot off, barely giving Ortis enough time to follow, surfing on his shield. He caught up, flying next to Grex, using another shield to block sand from battering his eyes and face. So, in our days off, did you not want to go visit Toralei? I'm sure Astra would have willingly taken you.
Her name is Fantarel, not Toralei, and why would I want to go visit a traitor who abandoned her own family?
Ortis had
Okay, so yeah, we do have now full confirmation. Toralei was based on Eldorok's sister. Kaiju Rex was based on her dog. Okay, Eldorok is Eldorok. Okay, and a lot of us in the series have a fan theory that Psycho Pterodilect is based on his father. only because both of them are batshit insane.
Heard this story from a member of the Sharp Gang who lived it most directly, Tayron J.
So we have we have 4 confirmations because I forgot about the machine demon. And so yeah, we have 4 confirmed, 1 theorized, 2 unknown.
Anavar. Tayron had been the overseer of his own world, T905, and was faced with a challenge by the Archon Fantarel. If Tayron won, she'd let his team kill her, ridding the multiverse of another Archon. If she won, she got Tayron's overseer abilities. In the end, Tayron realized...
Yep, that's called the Summoner's Beast storyline. Go check that out if you haven't. I did.
...that Fantarel, now going by Toralei, hadn't spent any time ravaging populated dimensions like her siblings, and truly did want what was best for Tayron's world. She just loved living there and wanted to stay. He also learned that an Archon with Overseer abilities could lock even other Archons out of the dimension they oversaw. Tayron willingly gave up the Overseer abilities, and now, arguably, with Toralei as its Overseer, T905 was the safest realm of the multiverse. That had also allowed Toralei to isolate herself away from the other Archons, which she was perfectly happy and eager to do now that she'd taken up sides with the Archon's main foes.
Yeah.
Mortis asked, "She's a traitor because she didn't want to destroy universes like the rest of you?"
She's a traitor because she helped those Sharpster gremlins kill Cypheramov.
Cypheramov, who now wants to kill...
Wait, no. Cypheramov was not killed by the Sharp Gang. Cypheramov was killed by Tarsa literally eating her. So, if you want anyone to blame the bitch you're already trying to kill.
Eldrorok.
Just because your mouthy wife said that doesn't make it true.
It was odd hearing Kaija Grex mention Mythal with such disrespect. Ortis had thought if there was anyone outside Grex's family he deeply respected, it was Mythal. You know Mythal wouldn't lie about that. Besides, you could ask Suvastarif if it's true. You still have a connection to her, don't you? Grex smacked Ortis with his wing, forcing him to barrel roll while barely clinging to his shield.
Ow!
Grex growled.
Just quit it. I know what you're doing. Just because Fantarel is a traitor, that doesn't mean I will be. Could someone convince you to betray your family? Would you ever turn your back on Narati, Sagan, any of the other Godqueller misfits you and Mythal popped out? Huh?
Calmly, Ortis replied.
Okay.
No, because I love and respect my family, but equally important, they love and respect me back. I don't love my family simply because we're blood related or because we've been together for so long. I love them because our lives are better for being together.
Yeah.
Even when we're not actively showing it, I can feel the underlying current of all of us deeply caring for each other. That's how it should feel. Maybe Toralei knew that too. Knew
He actually has a great point.
that she deserved to feel better, to be around people who more genuinely cared for her. So do you, Kaija Grex. Grex's anger slightly
Grex.
dropped away, but only briefly.
Okay, I actually just thought of something, and it is most definitely an insult to Grex. What would happen if you were to pet him behind the ears? Would his tail start wagging? I'm sorry.
McKeeve would be proud of how good you are at that, huh?
Ortis paused. So you were watching me in that era of my life.
That was when you finally became interesting again. You were such a whiny wimp for a few years after Mythal vanished, that I was actually rooting for McKeeve after a while, until you turned his own skill set against him. But the fact that you ever thought the whole manipulation game was gonna work on me proves you never actually got as smart as I gave you credit for.
Ortis nodded,
you never
standing as
know.
tall and confident as he could on his shield. Fair enough. Open hand then. I think deep down you don't want to help Eldrorok. You can see the kind of person he really is. I think you're just so attached to the idea of yourself as loyal that you won't let yourself accept that he doesn't deserve your loyalty.
I wouldn't expect a human to understand the bond between Archons.
Trying to
Come
set us
on.
apart by arbitrary lines like that is a poor deflection of my point that I think you know is ultimately meaningless. You've clearly seen that you Archons can fall into the same psychological loops and patterns as humans. I think you're just attached to Eldrorok due to familiarity, and due to fear that you won't be able to find family with any humans after all the universes you've destroyed. But that's a decision you've made to believe as true, not a definitive truth.
You see me lying on a couch,
Personal belief.
asking you to hear me whine about daddy issues, Ortis?
No, but I do see someone extremely conflicted about their place in reality, conflicted about who they are.
I think your sparkle sight is on the fritz then. I'm a freaking Archon, I know my place, and it's above humans like you. You're all fun little playthings, but you don't actually matter to us.
Ordis smiled softly. Well then, why don't you kill me and take my corpse to Eldrorok right now?
Yeah.
I can't imagine he planned to leave me alive after I tore a hole through him, right?
Exactly.
Grex froze. Well, Mythil isn't here to stop you. Alexis is now set on killing Tarsa, so sooner or later that'll be handled as Elder wanted, regardless of what happens to me. What's
So go ahead. Do it. Hit me. I'm right here. Do it.
stopping you from taking me as a prize for Elder right now? That would be the ultimate act of loyalty, wouldn't it? And if none of us humans matter to you, if Mythil, Sagan,
Go ahead. Bring your master a bone.
Narati's opinion of you don't matter, then what's the big deal? Kaidragrex just stared at Ordis for a moment, his mouth fluttering open a few times as if he were about to speak, but never actually saying anything. Before Kaidragrex could finally respond, the churning ground beneath him and Ordis erupted open.
Oh,
Ordis
crap.
barely backed off in time to not be snatched up in the jaws of a titanic snake. Grex growled.
Oh, perfect timing. I was just thinking how I really needed something to blast into oblivion.
So that means he was thinking about it, but he was still thinking about it. He didn't act on instinct. Haha.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. New Pantheon Reaper episodes come out every other Friday, so the next episode
I'm
will
fine
be
with
coming
that.
out 2 weeks from today. But besides that, that's all for today, except of course for ending this video on some kind of
Positive,
positive or
inspiring
inspiring
note.
note. And the thought I want to leave people with is a quote that could apply to a bunch of different scenarios, so I'll just say the quote and see how it resonates for you. But the
Okay,
quote
then.
is that you will never feel ready because ready isn't a feeling, it's a decision.
Oh,
I hope that
that's
hits
a
you
good
with
one.
something related to whatever you're going through in your life. I hope it's inspiring. I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next video on Monday.
That is going to be the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of you next time when we flick back on. Till then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.